Hi, um, my name is Aniko Conrad. I'm an ancient Babylonian astrologer, and today I'm gonna talk about the cycle of Venus. A lot of people ask me about this, how this pentagram works with the Prophet Magus Placidus 7, with Turman Kalev, and everybody was asking me about the cycles of the pentagram, which is goes every 8 years. On the pentagram of Venus. So today I'm gonna show you something. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. Right. So we can see that on the right, Venus is the morning star, and the Earth is you can see it's underneath, like right there. Right. And in the middle, you can see the sun. You have the sun, and this one is the circle of the orbit of Venus. So when Venus is on the right in her orbit, we see it from the Earth as a morning star, and she's associated with Athena Palace in the Virgin, with the star of Akkad. Is represented with a weapon with a lion, and she's stepping on the lion. But she's kind of divinity. Ishtar of Akkad, it's a very powerful divinity, and also Athena is the divinity of the wisdom, strategy. It is also connected with dexterity, like artisanship, outgoing technology, inventive, ingenious. This is Athena from Ishtar of Akkad. Is the divinity of victory and like a strategy of war, right? Yeah, you can see she has a weapon, and she's stepping on the lion. Right, and this is Athena Palace. So we can see it here on the left is Ishtar of Uruk, right? And which is Aphrodite. It is the evening Venus. But here we have a completely different divinity of harmony, friendship, love, and beauty, of art, of nice times, music, dancing. Aphrodite, it's like the harmony. She doesn't like quarrels or war. But she also can be very capricious. I'm Aphrodite myself, reincarnated in the real flesh. So, she can also be very indecisive, changing her mind. It's not like Athena. It's completely different because she keeps her words, and she's much more stable emotionally. And she's also a virgin. They are three divinities that Eros. I don't know if you ever heard about the story about Eros and Psyche. How they found a love. He's also his offspring, of Aphrodite. Anyhow, but there are three divinities that Eros cannot touch. He has power over pretty much everything except these three divinities, which are virgins. One of them is Athena Palace. The second one is Hestia, which is the Roman Vesta. And the The last one is Artemis. So the Vesta is the family of fire, where does your commitment lies. But Artemis is the how you call it, the goddess of chastity, hunting, nature, children. But Artemis is Athena's half sister and daughter of Zeus and Leto. But herself a daughter of Titans, Artemis is an unusual deity in that she shares these Olympian days with her twin brother Apollo, the god of sun, music, and poetry. Artemis also took the side of the Trojans. So Eros has no power over these three divinities because these three divinities don't fall in love. So he he was a problematic child. Besides being a shifter, has lots of powers. He can do pretty much everything. Also revived Psyche and then fall in love in the end. After she passes all Aphrodite's challenges. So yes, that's another story. But like I said, Aphrodite can be capricious, but also could be very charming. And so, what happens when Venus is invisible? It is behind the sun, right? Where's my right? Hold on. So you see, you can see all the stuff in here, behind and the front, right? It says second station, first station. You got your retrogrades and you have your direct. So when Venus is invisible, well, we all know the story about it. Well, some of us knows. What I know is that when she becomes invisible, she goes to the underworld. She gets completely stripped naked, even abused a little bit, captured, got married, and then they turn her loose. She got spared, and in December she becomes visible again. That's one of the versions I remember. But I know one thing for sure, that the ancients, they used to say that from the end of September for like 2 months, October and November, when Venus is invisible, you should never get married. Or nothing would last. Anything you buy or shop in this modern world, it will be worthless because the land is barren. Everything was harvested in the end of September. So the land is completely barren. So everything is barren. Well, to my personal experience. So when she's behind the sun, the land will be barren until she rises. She goes into the underworld, and I think she will get together with Nergal. So the invisible Venus is associated with Ishara, and it's also associated with the Gorgon Medusa, the Scorpio, right? So here is Ishara, and here is Gorgon Medusa, and you can see the Scorpio above her, right? But there are so many stories about also associated with Persephone. But that's another story. Okay, so Ishara is the divinity of magic, of healing through incantation. It's a very special kind of healing. And also, it's sensual love. They also have the divinity of expiation of sins, which means spirituality. Spirituality which comes through with asceticism or asceticism. So the Gorgon is the divinity of a fearful. However, once upon a time she was a high priestess according to the Greek mythology, and there were several versions, which is the Westlikes, that she was seduced and punished. But in the end, according to the ancients, there's a different kind of story. They say that she was a priestess of Athena Palace, and she was very beautiful, and she was dedicated to the divine purpose. But then Poseidon wanted her to make love to her, and he decided to woo her and lavishing her with all kinds of gifts and everything else. And Gorgona also liked Poseidon, and she had sex with him, right? She made love with him with on her own accord. Yeah, I think that's what they're saying, right? With her own accord. So what happens next? When Athena Palace she saw what happened. She became very angry to the priestess, because the priestesses must be celibate. I mean, they have to be virgins. So she punished her and turned her to this ugly creature. And and then turned her hair into snakes, right? So because it was indulgement, materialism, so she turned her into this ugly creature. So what does this mean? This means of the myth of Athena is the divine wisdom, and Poseidon is the divinity of the water, the deep waters of the sea. So the water is connected with emotions and sensuality. So Gorgona is dedicated to the divine wisdom, but she decides to indulge in the sensual pleasures, fully committed. So she turns her back on the divine wisdom, and she sinks deep into the gratifying her sensual desires. That's why she got punished. This actually represents the descent of the spirit. Interesting. Which is the Venus, the morning star, is the divine world, and the spirit in the divine world is Venus, morning star, which is Athena Palace. However, when this spirit comes down and descend on earth and incarnate into the flesh, this process it goes through Gorgona in descent into the material world. So Gorgona, she becomes this ugly creature because the material world is ugly compared to the spiritual world, which is much more beautiful. So what happens next? After the invisibility, Venus pops up like Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is the spirit of descending into this material world, incarnated in flesh and body. So Athena is the divine world, and Aphrodite it is the physical world. So Athena is the divine world with a lot of light, enjoying the divine world with beauty and knowledge and wisdom. And it comes time when she must prove herself into the material world. She must come and be incarnated in the flesh material world, and this is the examination of how much wisdom she has accumulated into the divine world, the earth, and the life on earth, the life in the flesh, and the body. This is the test of our spirit. So in the divine world, it is easy, but the material world, they have a lot of challenges. In every step we are making, we are tested in the material world. Every part of this cycle is necessary. Every part of this cycle have its own place, has its own place. And we cannot demonize anyone from this cycle. So after this, what happens is that when Aphrodite or Venus, as an evening star, she's staying here, but in some point she comes in front of her sun, right? She comes in front of her sun. And she has a very short period, you can see here, a very short period of the invisibility, maybe several days or 1 or 2 weeks maximum. And then again, she will run like a morning star, like Athena. So what happens here? Aphrodite is tested in the real material world, and in some point Aphrodite turns her eyes into the eternal world. She's looking out there to the divine world. She's already tired of this material world, this constant struggle, the constant decay, and the corruption of this instability of the material world, tyranny. She decides to turn her eyes into the divine world, and then she becomes invisible, which means that she will go through a lot of trials, tribulation, expiation, asceticism, prayers, clearance, and cleaning herself from the cardinal fixation, and then she becomes much more divine, and then she becomes Athena Pallas again. So this cycle is for actually everybody, yeah. Not only for Venus, but for each one of us. So when you look at Venus in your chart, you will know which direction you are. Each pentagram goes through 5 bounds in 8 years. The difference of Athena and Aphrodite is just, it's kind of like an observation. You know, people like Aphrodite, we like nights, we like to party time and doing all the good stuff. And then Athena is the morning person, the marching word, all the artisans are waking up, go to work and so on and so forth. So you know which one is which. What else? Yeah. So this is what I wanted to show you. We can probably continue some other day about the rest of them. But this is also is associated. But there's another thing about Venus. You can see it here, the evening star. Ishtar of Uruk, Venus of the evening star, Aphrodite, which is also associated with Taurus and Pisces, Nihma, the Centauri plus Crux, the Uz and the Lyra, the Margida, the Ursa Major, and then we have the sensual love, fertility, art, love, and later age, and feminine and unstable. The morning star, Ishtar of Elam, Venus as the morning star, Athena Pallas. also associated with Leo and Libra. Benny Canis Major, world business, trade, love, any younger age, masculine infidelity. Then we can see Ishara, Venus, the invisible Venus. And this is also related to Persephone, which is Scorpio. Then the Taurus is the Pleiades, healing, sickness, magic, redemption, sometimes unlucky, confused in love. But the invisible Venus, according to the Hellenistic authors, it also says betrayal from wife, friends, and beloved people. Distress coming from a young woman, children in female charts, hidden diseases in the female sexual organs in the day chart, unemployment, lack of money. In the night chart is excessive love for money, big hopes for financial success is eluding, right? And we can see all the seals in here. That's another story, right? And you also have the calendar. Why doesn't it show this side? Okay, let's... okay. So we have all the heliacal phases between us. Morning first, morning late, evening first, evening late. You can see how it changes. Alright, well that's it for tonight. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.